to adjudicate the gripes of the White House press corps. They are numerous. But are we reaching an inflection point with the White House press corps and President Biden?
I think reporters are definitely frustrated because you're coming off of a 4-year presidency under Donald Trump where they thought they, were being misled all the time or lied to or not treated fairly, et cetera. And I think the expectation was going into the Biden administration, again, this is the expectation of those reporters in the White House press corps, that the relationship would be really good and that it would be flowery. And I think what you're seeing is a tired president who is trying to get through a meeting, who was clearly caught off guard when, Boris Johnson took questions from his reporters to British reporters, and Biden probably didn't know that was coming. And so I think that moment has now added on to the past 9 months of reporters feeling like their expectations weren't being met. I don't know if we're hitting an inflection point, but it definitely feels like the White House press corps is starting to feel exhausted by this routine where they were expecting so much access and they're just getting normal access.
Well, sort of normal access by old standards, abnormal access by President Trump standards, even perhaps by President Obama standards, interviews versus past presidents. This goes back to last month, but President Biden has yet to give a television interview since then. At this time of their presidency, Obama 113, President Trump 50, Biden 9. Are you hearing any reporting of sort of the reasoning behind the White House's I don't want to say hiding, but certainly much tighter control of the president?
You nailed it on the head when it's tighter control of the president. So their strategy here is to be going through the press secretary, Jen Psaki, who's had a ton of press conferences. Remember, during the Trump administration, a lot of the White House press conferences simply just didn't exist. But the strategy has been rerouted a little bit differently. One, they're really heavily relying on press conferences with the press secretary as opposed to the president himself. And then two, they're relying on a lot of the president's surrogates around him to be doing a lot of press and be talking openly to the press. Now, obviously, there's frustration from the White House press corps because they cover the president, right? That's the person that they want to hear from. But that's just not the strategy that this White House has employed. I think if you want to know why they haven't employed it, President Biden is walking into a situation where he's being just pummeled with, I don't want to say scandal, but situation after situation. You have Afghanistan, you have this latest deal between the U.S., the U.K., and Australia, which has isolated France. You have Haitians at the border. There's so much going on that I think they probably just think at this point there's little upside to him taking a lot of questions while there's just a lot that they're handling.
Yeah, in fact, it appears as though at least a couple of times President Biden even wanted to take questions and didn't. Take a listen to this.
Can I ask you a question? Of course. One of the things that I've been working on with some others is...
Thank you. And I'm happy to take questions if that's what I'm supposed to do, Nance, whatever you want me to do.
Evidently, there was somebody who didn't want him to take questions. I guess the question for you would be this. How much of this sort of frustration from the press corps has to do with now all of a sudden there are things to question the president about because the honeymoon phase is over, and as you point out, there's real issues to discuss?
I think the press has felt like there's been real issues to discuss from the start, to be very honest. You remember in the beginning of the presidency, we were overturning executive orders. There was so much happening in Congress. I think that they'd felt this frustration for a long time. I think what you're starting to see, and those clips were really good, is that the president's team has a plan for how they're going to manage the press, and the president is going to do what his team says. This is totally different from the Trump White House. If Trump wanted to answer the reporters, Trump just answered reporters' questions. But Biden's going to be deferential to his team. And so maybe what you're seeing here is that there's a plan, a lockstep plan. Biden's not going to necessarily go around it. And maybe if he does want to answer questions, he might feel like he can't.
Yeah, well, he won't have the opportunity tomorrow because they're not letting him be seen by the White House press pool. Sarah, fascinating conversation. We appreciate it. We'll read about it in your newsletter as the media starts covering itself being upset, which is something the media loves to do. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Great to see you. Moderates versus